Welcome to Liverpool, Nova Scotia, Eastern Canada, just a short swim across the pond from Europe. Young athletes from all over the world have gathered here this week, and this quaint community have found itself a little busier, a little more crowded, as it's now the host of the World Junior Curling Championships 2019. We will find ourselves in the Queen's Place Emirates Centre once again, and on our broadcast this evening, an exciting matchup. Japan will play Korea in the 8th session of the women's competition. To guide you through the game, myself, Sander Ulvåg, and the queen of curling, Laura Walker. Good evening to you.
Oh, good evening, Sander.
Let's meet the teams. Lead for Japan, Mona Ryokawa. At second, Sa Yamamoto. At third, Minori Suzuki. And team skip for Japan, we have Ami and Nami. And for Korea, Laura.
Korea, we have lead Kim Soo-jin. At second, Yang Tae. Third this evening, Kim Haerin. And their skip, Kim Min-ji.
Let's look at the standings so far. We see China on top at 6 wins, 1 loss, followed by Canada, Russia and Switzerland, and then Korea sitting at 4 and 3. So quite an important game for them. Also we see Japan down at 1 and 6, starting to be a little bit rough down the bottom. We'll have at least 3 teams relegated. So there'll be a fight for relegation as well as for playoff spots.
Some big games going on at the arena this evening. Canada and China will play on Sheet A, the United States and Switzerland on Sheet C. On Sheet D, we have Scotland taking on Sweden, and on Sheet E, Norway will play Russia.
Well, the team has had their practice. And they had the last one draw as well to determine who would have the last one advantage, or hammer, as we so affectionately call it in curling.
And it was Japan winning that draw to the button. They had a beautiful draw, their first draw coming into the forefoot and their second one fully covering the button. So Korea was not able to do better than that, and Japan will have the hammer to start this game.
Japan will play the red stones. Korea will throw the yellow. And it's all kicked off now. Kim Soo-jin throws the first rock for the Koreans. Mone Ryokawa, only 18 years old, still a few years left at the junior stage. See a finger pointed up in the air, might be a little heavy here, right off the bat. Japan did have first practice, so the ice might have keened up just a wee bit since Korea came on to have the second practice. But overall ice conditions have been very good, haven't they?
They've been fantastic, and they've been consistent from draw to draw, which is the biggest thing for these teams. It allows them to catch on to the ice and allows them to make more precise shots as the week goes on. John Wall and his crew have done a fantastic job here in Liverpool.
coming up a bit shy here.
Yeah, first one heavy, so probably a little bit of an over-adjustment on her second one. In that case, though, she could have been all the way to that back yellow and still had a great result. Now just giving Korea another guard to work with.
Young Tae. Well, this Korean team's had a great season. First, they beat the team of Kim Eun-jung, the silver medalist from Pyeongchang in the Korean National Championship, to earn the right to represent Korea at the Pacific Asia Curling Championships. Also been doing pretty well at the World Cups, made one final, or two finals rather, winning one. Maybe a lot of teams would think they would just walk in here and pick up gold. So far that hasn't been the case, as they've lost 3 games.
Yeah, this is a huge game for this Korean team to keep their playoff hopes alive.
Minori Suzuki with the peel of the center guard here, just trying to open up things. The Pacific Asia Championships was won by the Koreans. They beat another Japanese team, that of Satsuki Fujisawa, in the final. And just like that, a lot of people's just forgotten about that Korean team from the Olympics just a year ago.
Yeah, they really haven't played very much, if at all, this season.
Well, Kim Eun-jung was from Useong in Southeast Korea. These girls are from Chuncheon, fairly far north. Clearly a great future ahead of them, as well as the Japanese girls here.
Yeah, curling in Japan in general has really blown up over the last few years, become quite popular there.
Well, Japan was the host of the first official Olympic Games for curling back in '98 in Nagano, and the curling was being played in Karuizawa. And since then, they've built a new fantastic facility, the Karuizawa Ice Park.
Yes, we played there in December.
I believe you and me were even on the old one years and years ago.
Yeah, way back in the day, 2012, I believe that was, that we both played there. They have a legacy event that they put on there every year to commemorate the Olympics, and it's just a fantastic event. Japan does such a good job, and the fans are great, the people are great, they love curling there, so it's a lot of fun to play in Japan.
Third for Korea, Kim Hye-rin puts that center guard back. And it looks like Japan's going to switch gears. Minori Suzuki.
This is a pretty big miss here in the first end from Suzuki. To not make contact with either yellow. I'm not sure about that call really in the first place. I think in the first end you still need to just open this up and give yourself a chance. That double run back in the middle, try to make a double peel. Your own red could go back on those 2 yellows and at least give yourself a chance. Even if they make the shot they call, they're still not sitting shot rock and a long ways from scoring. Doesn't quite get in there for third shot, but in a really great position for Korea. Japan is in a ton of trouble here in this first end. As it sits right now, there's really no way to score.
Very unlucky to not make contact with any of the yellows in the house. Actually leaves 2 center guards as well. This is starting to look a bit ugly in the first end already for Team Japan. Wow, that's almost hard to do.
Yeah, that's unfortunate to not make contact with any of those yellow ones in the rings. She was quite close. Now, this guard is made by Korea. You almost have to run in a yellow rock into another pile of yellows, and that's really scary. Or you try to get a freeze in there and just cut your losses and give Korea a steal of 1.
Just putting up a guard here. You can see those yellows are both covering a piece of the button, so not a lot to draw to either for Japan, even to cut them down. You're gonna have to just try and make some kind of run here, try and open up the scoring area.
괜찮은 것 같은데. 때문에 좋다 같아요. 暑かったらそのまま行っちゃってもいいよね。暑かったらそのままで、薄かったら前だけ。
Japan needs a huge shot from their skip here on this, her first one here in this first end.
Ami and Ami. Huge weight. Makes the double on the guards, but not sure if that's going to help them that much. Really needed to rattle those yellows in the house.
Yeah, and you couldn't see on the screen just there, but there's still a red center guard, that one that's up high, that's pretty much guarding that entire line of yellows there. So it doesn't really help her. She can't play big weight at these yellow rocks.
몇 나왔는데? 4번 나왔어요. 아니, 릴리 별로 안 한 거지? 안 한 거야. 좀만 해주면 될 것 같아. 하는 거 괜찮아. 셋? 셋, 넷. 넷, 괜찮아. 넷. 기다려야 돼. 라인은 좋아. 라인 그대로 와야 돼.
Kim Min-ji. Her last one here, first end, just trying to choke off the draw, I believe. Really just about the line. That probably does the trick. No chance to draw to the button here. Maybe you could come around that rock and get in for second. That's very tough.
Yeah, I'm not even sure that's there. I think anything she tries could end up hurting her more than helping her. That back red rock at the back of the 4 there is the only thing that's saving them from this being more than a steal of 2.
今ドローは無理なんだけど、
2つ飛ばしていって、でも後ろ行
でもそう
っちゃうよね。
後ろ行っちゃって4点取られるよりはもうスルーで2点か、
それから狙うから、
それか
これだけ
これだけいいよ、これだけ出して
ここだけってこと？でもこれにもし飛んだら、そう、こう行った時に4点になる。4点じゃない。4点はない、こっちが出るから。
You can see Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi on the right.
ちょっとここがかぶってるけど、ほぼ全部見え
Long
てる。
time second for Yosuke Morozumi. Also played the Olympics in Pyeongchang.
もっと上げてもいいけど狙いやすいのでいいと思う。出しやすいので。
Didn't look too worried. Seems like he's enjoying his time here and enjoying watching these girls at the start of their careers.
Yeah, and it is just the first end here. It's, you know, a steal of 2. If you flipped it around and Korea had the hammer, it wouldn't be the end of the world to give up 2 in the first end. It's a long game, these 10-end games, so Japan just wants to be a little bit careful here that it's no more than a steal of 2.
Last rock here, some big weight, trying to shave this guard, run the yellow back, and picks out a yellow. Great shot.
Look at that.
Could not have done much more than that. That is real good stuff. Saves Japan. Only gives up 1. Actually tickles that stone top 8. And peels the yellow out from the back 4. The 1 point for Korea. They'll take it.
원래 업이긴 얘네 작전은 업인데 어떻게 잘 맞아서 바깥쪽 맞아가지고 좀 잘 맞은 것 같아. 몇 나왔어? 3반. 같이 하지.
That one just stops in time for Monieri Okawa.
웨이트.
Top of the T line. Stays half open, so you'll see Korea make a play on it.
That's a nice pair to start the end there for Kim Soo-jin. Really nice controlled weight on her second stone to be able to stick her shooter there in the forefoot.
so far. A little more tidy than the first end for Japan. Does that happen sometimes? You play one very aggressive end where you might be in a lot of trouble, and then the next end you just try and make it a little simpler just to ease yourself a bit.
Yeah, you kind of get a bit of stage fright from the last time it happened, and you don't want to get yourself into too much trouble. But the biggest thing that happened in the first end was not really a difference in strategy. It was that Japan's first rock of the end slipped to the back of the forefoot, and that's what allowed Korea to freeze on top of them and get some rocks into a good position. So the difference here was that rock from Japan just stopping in the top of the forefoot, leaving it in a much better place for Japan and a lot less dangerous. It's tricky in the first end to play a more aggressive strategy, play those come arounds. You don't always know the ice quite as well as you'd like to. Here in the second end, they seem to be a lot more comfortable. Maybe I spoke too soon. This one is just a little bit heavy.
많이 잡아갈 필요 없다. 라인 괜찮아. 아니 말레비. 라인 가야 돼. 기다려 얘들아, 많이 튀어. 기다려.
Coach for Korea, Lee So-jin. He's followed these girls for a couple of years now. Should know them pretty well. Been through a lot of success recently. But at the World Juniors, they've had their struggles. They played a few times already. Actually, a bronze medal is their best finish. And that was back in 2016. Then they lost the bronze the year after, and last season they finished 6th. And so far, 3 losses here this week. It's a bit strange because in women's play they've been just doing better and better and beating some of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, because of that, they might be adding a little bit of extra pressure on themselves. You know, having so much success at the women's level, you would expect to be able to come in here, like you said earlier, and do so well in juniors, and maybe too much pressure they're putting on themselves.
Here's Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi, one of the good guys in curling, one of many. Always got a smile on his face.
It's one thing you'll find with Japanese curling teams, no matter who they are always smiling. Seems like nothing ever bothers them. They're so much fun to watch.
Asuka Kanai, the alternate in the middle, and their physical coach on the left. Also becoming a huge part of curling, especially recent years. A lot of fitness coming into it.
Yeah, we've seen actually a lot of teams here this week with a trainer or a physical coach, as you said, and that person is walking them through warm-ups and cool-downs and probably telling them what to do when they have a 1-game day or a 2-game day, and it's a huge asset, especially to set these players up for the future so that they don't get those overuse injuries and strains that it seems like a lot of the players are getting these days with how many games you play in a season.
It seems like the season's longer than it was maybe 20 years ago.
And it gets longer and longer, it seems, every year now. Looking at the World Cups, this Korean team will be going to the final nearly in the middle of May, and probably would have played their first event early in September, if not before that. So that's a long time to not have much of a break. Curling is a bit of a lopsided sport. Most people sweep with their same arm down all the time, you obviously are consistently lunging out of the hack on the same leg over and over and over. And there's just so much strain that goes on certain body parts, and you're not really evening it out as you might in other sports or if you're just working out in the gym. So to balance those things out and have a trainer at your hands be a huge asset. Japan just trying to move around these angles and keep around as many red rocks as they can in the rings. They do that, but don't quite bury their red shooter. So looks like Korea will try either a hit and roll or maybe even a double, playing it into that yellow rock, into the red rock that's in the full four, almost biting the button.
살짝 푸시하게 이렇게 올까? 좋으면 하고 일단 롤 보고.
얇은 것보단 두꺼운 게 나을 것 같아.
밑에 맞으면 안 돼.
이게 좀
근데 이거.
이것도 있긴 한데 지금
근데 열려버리면 좀. 그러니까 이거 먼저 하자.
두껍게 갈게.
오케이.
괜찮아. 좀 밀어넣는 게 낫겠지? 롤만 그럴까? 힐 낫겠다.
이러면 괜찮을 것 같은데.
롤이 먼저요? 아니 일단
힐. 그 더블처럼. 빨강색 밀어.
Well, makes in off and sits right there on the button. Korea line 3. Beautiful shot by Kim Min-ji.
Really nice shot. Korea has a good handle on these ice conditions. Often you'll see those shots to the wings not quite as precise because they're just not played as often. But they've got this whole sheet figured out. Now Japan in a lot of trouble once again in the second end.
こっちから切る。ダメダメダメダメ一緒一緒。これをこっちに飛ばしたら飛ばない？
飛ばなくない？
それだったらこっちじゃない？
薄く当てればいいか。
だってそっち飛ばなくない？
内側にやってないわ。
9秒。ないといかないよね。
9は欲しいね。
9秒。
シューターって外開かない。
シューターこっち動くかもしれないけど。
でもそんなしてないよね。
これ当たってもいいよ。
オッケー。
See Japan try to remove a couple of these yellow rocks here.
They do get a couple moving. I wonder if Korea might be at least line 2, maybe even 3 still. At least opens it up a bit.
Yeah, that was the key to open it up. Unfortunately, with that double, the second yellow rock here is always going onto those side reds no matter where you hit it. So that jam was always going to happen, but it does open up the forfeit area for her. Makes Korea make a good draw.
있으면 프리딜.
괜찮아.
여덟은 너무 가까워. 3을 해줘야 돼.
3에서 해주는 거?
Where's the ideal spot for this one? The guard just off the center line. The shot stone is pretty exposed.
Yeah, if she could keep it almost what we call a Christmas tree. So if she could bury just a piece behind the guard that's just off the center line, but still keep some of this thrown stone in front of the rock that's on the button, that would be ideal because it would make it hard for Japan to remove anything. But this one's probably going to be a little deep than they had wanted and just doesn't get the line. Now leaves a nose double for Japan. You'll find this ice is very sensitive to the weight, so if you throw sweeping weight or a little bit less than you need and allowing your sweepers to get it there for you, you'll see a lot more curl than if you're all there by yourself, which is what Korea just was there. Just didn't get the break at the end.
あんま曲がんない。
でもみなりちゃんは1投目まで何？バックで買って。みんなのハックが7号だったから 8？8 後半か9前半でもいい。
ちょっとロールすれば大丈夫。
オッケー。
Choosing to play it more as a tap. Make sure her shooter sticks around in the forefoot.
Well, it's going to be another steal here for Korea. Didn't curl enough for Japan. But they're only 2 down and 8 ends to go. Lots of curling left to be played.
日本語なんだっけって思っちゃう。
좀 빨리 나서 많이 한 거지. 잘 해준 거 같아. 민지 거를 내 거랑 괜찮은 거지. 내 거랑 혜린이 거 생각해가지고 했는데. 아 이거 내가 좀 많이 한 거 같아. 해주니까. 이거보다 원래 좀 적게 하는데 이것보다 좀 덜 하지. 이게 많이 한 거지 그냥. 많이 한 거. 화이팅. 발차기 좋아. 들어. 약해도 괜찮았어. 이거 많이 주긴 했어. 8. 웨이트 봐줘. 8. 조금 웨이트 봐줘. 기다려. 웨이트 약간 기다리자. 라인 좀 줘. 웨이트 좋아. 아직 있어? 열?
아 턴이 많아. 안 돼.
응, 열?
수진이가 6만 더 되니까 조금만 더 기다려줘.
오케이.
3.
Just a tad deep.
해줘서 그런가 봐.
To the back four by Kim So-jin. So Korea stolen in the first two ends here, but Japan very much in it still.
Oh, for sure. There's still 8 ends left to go in this game. This is a long 10-end game. We've seen, especially with this 5-rock rule, a lot of teams come back from early deficits, so 2 points early on is nothing for this Japanese team. Just need to hang in there and focus on scoring there too. There's no need to take any unnecessary risks this early.
몇 나왔어? 5에 2번.
Japan looking to utilize their corner here early in this third end. So often we see that corner guard go up and never really get used. They're trying to get around it early here, but I don't think they quite got the line.
업하면 큰일 나지. 많이로.
레이즈 가만히 돼 있잖아.
Just going to ignore that stone in the back four as Sai Yamamoto is asked to come around the corner guard. You put it there for a reason, so might as well try and use it.
Yeah, especially with where Korea rolled to. Korea rolled way over to the side of the house. So Japan can come around this corner guard and sit at least second shot. Had Korea stuck around somewhere in the 8-foot, and Japan would have been third shot by coming around this corner, you might have seen Japan hit, but a good opportunity for them to use that corner. The Korean rock is behind the 4-foot, and that guard is fairly long, so they can probably access it with just a small tap later on if needed. Another come around attempt though to this corner, just not quite getting the line. Might need to tighten up the broom a little bit there now that they've seen it happen twice.
범퍼야 범퍼.
많이름.
웨이트 세. 범퍼.
혜린! 좀만 더! 많이름이야, 안 맞아.
수진아 가야 돼. 수진아 가야 돼. 수진아 가야 돼. 짭짭짭짭. 빼. 네. 네.
よくまずい？さっき14。
Maybe third time's the charm to get buried around this corner here. See the finger in the air, it might be just a little bit heavier than they had wanted. Still just not able to bury. Seeing this pattern now, it's happened 3 times in a row. Japan will need to just start tightening up that broom a little bit, making sure they give themselves a chance. Use your sweepers.
I mean, could you even come around on the outside?
You could. This one might be a little bit wide. They'd have to go out quite wide to come around it, but we've seen teams time and time again out here try to come around a rock the same way, and just not quite get there, and they don't really think to just switch turns, try the other way.
Because if you come around the outside, and even if you're just half buried, I remember half buried on the outside, and Korea couldn't be coming after you, heading and rolling towards the center.
No, and if they do try to come around and over curl it all, now they're taking your guard inwards towards the rings or towards the center line where you can use it a little bit easier. So definitely an option to come around the other way, but not one that we've seen a lot of teams look at so far this week.
It does seem like ice been running pretty quick all over, even when teams have been going further out and thinking it's going to be a bit slower, adding extra weight to come up heavy, because it's been usually almost just as keen on the wider paths.
Yeah, there's really no frost out there as we're looking at it. Often what happens when you go out wide is the frost starts to build up. You don't play out there as much, and that's what can slow a rock down, but it's been uniform across the sheet here this whole week.
뒤로만 안 가요. 되지 않을까? 가서 보여도 괜찮아.
센터 쪽은 별로야?
Korea has a 2-point lead right now, and they have the ring split. Coming around this corner, I think, is one of the only ways you ever let Japan get 2. You could just walk up and peel that red guard, and I think you're forcing Korea, or Japan in that case, if you're Team Korea. It's always scary coming around an opposition's corner guard, especially when you have the ring split like Korea does. Really just no need to put another one in.
안 넘길 수 있잖아.
그냥 열고 일단 들고 가는 게 낫지 않아? 만약에
들어가면 너무 복잡해지지 않아?
만약에 왔어, 그럼 얘네 한 번 더 들어올
다
거야.
보여도 괜찮아.
일단 할 거면 아예 보여주게.
살짝만 볼 공간만 없으면 돼.
유다가 왜 하는 거지?
뒤로 가면 절대 안 될 것 같아.
여기 갈것 같은데. 사이드.
이렇게 2개 있어서 열어도 나쁘진 않아요. 하나면 열면 얘들이
보여도 되니까.
Korean coach is looking on. Of course, the teams only get a single timeout throughout this whole game, so don't want to call it just yet. It's a little bit early still.
아니야, 필이야.
필!
And there she goes up to peel that corner guard. The team must have discussed it and realized that the only dangerous rock really for Japan right now is this red corner guard that they've decided to peel.
하이트 계속 와. 그래, 계속 봐. 라인 좋아, 계속 와. 자. 샷 때만 해요. 롯데반 돼, 롯데반.
こっち曲がってる？
わかんない、使ってない。
Not sure if she did get second shot there. She's trying to play the freeze. Super's really trying to get it there, but comes up just a little bit short. Does look like yellow is still sitting too.
어머, 쳤어?
아니 1, 2번이야. 1, 2번이야? 이거 해도 나쁘지 않지 않을까? 어차피 네 첫 번째
근데
샷이야.
굳이 뒤에는 우리가 굳이 갖다 놓을 필요
날리는 거? 오케이.
날려?
얘만 치는 게 나을 것 같아. 두 개가 너무 애매해. 저희가 뒤에 있잖아.
조심해.
아 괜찮아 괜찮아.
벨게 맞는 거 아니야?
Just peeling this one
이
out.
말을 해서 안 맞을 거야.
Yeah, they might think it's close for whose second shot. It's tough to tell from this angle. You know, Rock can't score if it's not there, so eliminating this one, and then Japan won't have a whole lot to set up there too.
기다려줘. 라인 괜찮아. 그냥 쭉 기다려.
라인 괜찮아. 기다려줘.
어디를 해도 안 돼.
Well hit and run. Korea does lie 2.
그냥 없애는 게 나을 것 같아.
This is when you might want to try and get your blank. There's no guards, not really a setup to score 2. They were looking to play the hit and roll off of the wing, but finally the call is to freeze, which is maybe the better way to go.
Yeah, the freeze does two things. It keeps the blank alive and also gives you an opportunity for 2. So by trying this freeze, if you make it really good and Korea's not able to remove it, you could maybe get your 2 that way. But if you do try the freeze and you don't make it perfect, Korea blasts, maybe has to lose their shooter to get rid of all 3 of those rocks, and then you can go out and hit that rock that's on the side of the 12-foot for your blank. So coming into the middle here and trying this freeze is definitely the way to achieve both those objectives.
Well, look at the rock lock going here for Ami and Ami. Hasn't played a draw yet in the game. So not since they've had first practice. That can always be a little bit tricky. 15 seconds is probably close. This is 14-4. Should probably be there by itself. But now actually sweep in to try and hold the line as it's just over curling. Actually, that's a pretty good shot by Skip and Ami.
Yeah, that little bit of separation means that Korea doesn't have to lose their shooter in order to get rid of both of those rocks. She could either nose it and get rid of both the back 2 or just straight pick it and keep the back 1. So the force definitely still on now for Team Korea with that tiny bit of separation, but a great try from Team Japan.
They will make that double end stick. So it will be the open hit to score 1 here for Japan. It's important to just get on the scoreboard here and not let Korea run away with it. Score your single. Very much still in it. And sometimes if it's not working for you to have the hammer, get rid of it. You might do better off trying to steal.
Yeah, and then you can dictate the play as well. When you don't have the hammer, you throw first. So you can sometimes set the tone for the end that way.
Korea are setting 2, so you need to stick the shooter here. And they do. Nice hit and stick. A single point on the board for Japan. After 3 ends of play, Korea is up 2-1. Korea will have last stone. We'll see what they can do with it. Just getting that over that nice tartan hog line we have here in Liverpool to match the forfeit. Actually, if you look close at the rings, that will be the Fort Point Lighthouse you see in the 12 foot.
One of the attractions here in Liverpool.
Yeah, we took a walk out there, very nice.
Very windy.
A little bit windy when we were there. We had to scurry away, but it's been a nice week here on the East Coast.
And Liverpool as a community has been fantastic. They've been so proud, I think, to host these championships. Just talking to a couple of the locals, one of them mentioned to me, she remembers when they announced in 2017 that the Worlds were going to come here, and they felt like it was so far away and they just couldn't wait. So really cool to see it here now, and the number of volunteers and the support from this community here in Nova Scotia has been fantastic.
Yeah, only a population of about 2,500 people. This shows you it's not the size of the community, it's the size of the hearts of the people that live here.
Isn't that right? But even in a community of not many people, they have this beautiful facility, almost brand new, not too old. Makes for a great venue for John Wall and his ice crew to provide some really great ice conditions here this week.
We'll have a pretty open end here. It's almost like one of the good old blanks, but there is that very long center guard up for Japan. But it's so long, it's almost like it's not in play.
No, it's tough to bury behind that rock that's just over the hog line and not have Korea be able to access it. So knowing that Korea split the rings right from the get-go, put what we call a winger, so a draw into the side of the house out to the wings, and I guess Japan, feeling the score is still pretty close, they don't need to take too many chances, decided to hit it. You would see a lot of teams throw the second center guard in this case, but early times yet for Team Japan. Korea will continue to try to nose this rock out on the side and not roll it in towards the middle. They want to keep the play away from the middle so that that blank is alive for them later on in the end, whereas Japan will be wanting to try to roll this one into the middle and get somewhere behind that long guard.
룸. 펌펌. 룸. 많이 룸이야. 펌펌. 펌펌. 혜린. 한번 더, 혜린이.
아리나 조금만 더, 조금만 더.
Another try at making this roll here. This rock keeps getting higher and higher in the ring, so unless one of these teams makes a roll soon, we won't have it in the rings.
여섯까지만. 웨이트 좀 있어. 6, 7. 기다려줘.
많이 세, 많이 세. 아, 많이 세.
11까지 갈 것 같아.
열하나? 열하나.
Wanting this pretty high up in the house, considering how long that guard is, but it's going to be a little bit deep, all the way to the back gate almost, and actually half open.
Yeah, I'm not really sure they needed to come around this center line guard at all, Team Korea here. Having the hammer with a 1-point lead, I think they'd be better off keeping the play away from the middle. That center situation is the only really chance Japan has to steal here. Play went to the wings. Japan is probably forced to chase it. Keeps the play away from the middle. Now you're giving some backing behind a guard.
Minori Suzuki joins in the sweeping here to try and drag this as far as possible, wanting to freeze the back yellow. Just going to pull up a bit shy for second shot. Had perfect line though.
Yeah, it was looking good. Just needed a little more pace. Would have been a great shot. By rolling out there, it allows Japan to try that same freeze. Had she stuck around, you'd probably see Japan switch gears to a hit.
これ上といい時はさ逆に曲げちゃってさあれした方がいい
した方がいいと思う。
ちょっとでも見えちゃったらもう結局さヒールじゃないてか変にロールされても嫌だしね今まで切ってたのに切ってもいい話がするけどこっちが見て何秒だったっけ？408だけどあれはリリースが弱かったそうだね4秒で全然問題ないと思う4秒で問題ないと思う、ちょっと幅いいよ해서 다운까지 괜찮아. 백은 잠깐 어려울 것 같아. 백업!
그냥 이렇게 하고 좀 밀어가야 될 것 같아.
좋으면
백.
라인?
해도 괜찮아. 라인만?
Pretty controlled lead here. Trying to get to the inside of the red. Hang too high here. And you'll just jam it, and that red rock will stick around. Well, doesn't quite get enough to the inside. Maybe a chance for Japan to either hit and lie two, or well, they're thinking about even freezing here.
I think I'd be trying to lie two now. With the shot that Korea just played, I can see what they were trying to do with the quiet weight across the face and try to stick it over there on the side. The other option was to just throw it harder and hit it right where they did and lose everything. It's tough for Japan to make any kind of roll that doesn't leave a blank for Team Korea in this situation. It was just so tough to get to the inside of that one, past that guard and stick around.
じゃあ打ってもいいんじゃん。でも残んないってじゃない？じゃないけど遅めでいけばいい。ワンツーは取りたいね。アップ？これからさえちゃんで。はいよ。今407。
Really don't want to, I was going to say jam that, but you need to make contact first. That's unfortunate for Team Japan. They had a huge opportunity for the force there. Could have just played that like a takeout right on the nose and you had a force for Team Korea. Still lots of game left if you just force them to a single point.
Just going to draw for two here.
라인 저 웨이트는 약해 나. 괜찮아 보여. 계속 가자. 순이야 계속 와. 계속 가자. 아우 좋아. 계속 가. 웨이트 오고 있어. 좋아 보여. 스리만 해도 될 것 같아. 스리만. 오케이. 샷. 미드 왜 이렇게 안 했대?
Oh, there we go. 2 points. Clutch drawn by Kim Min-ji. And Team Korea very much in control so far after 4. They're up by 3.
세게 찬 것 같아서 안 했거든.
아직 있다.
라인 괜찮아.
아홉.
웨이트만.
여덟.
웨이트만.
웨이트 괜찮아.
라인 좁아져. 클린만.
여덟.
가야 돼. 빠르다.
여덟.
클린만.
웨이트 좋아. 일곱.
야, 좋아 보여.
일곱 여덟.
타이트해져.
웨이트 좋아.
타이트해.
샷. 2번.
One more end before halftime break. Japan will be looking to score a couple points back here. Down by 3. We've had a bit of a tough week, but a great learning experience. Sitting at 1 and 6. Just picking up their first win this morning on Team Scotland.
For Korea, though, this is a huge game, sitting at 4 and 3, needing a couple more wins here to secure themselves a playoff spot.
약간 있어. 웨이트 괜찮아. 기다려야 돼. 웨이트 괜찮아. 기다리면 괜찮아. 라인은? 라인 붙어 있어. 불반 셋. 라인 야! 혜린이가. 야! 혜린아 안 들어오게 때려줘. 더 떨어져야 돼. 야!
Fortunately, Korea, they're guarding the wrong side of that rock, as we would say. So if you're not going to be dead in front of it, you want to make sure you're at least on the side of the corner guard belonging to Team Japan. The way that it sits right now with that piece exposed on the corner guard side, Japan could come around and play a hit and roll behind their own corner. So you always want to be conscious of those things as the person putting down the broom to make sure, if anything, you're on the side that you need to be on.
Comes up a bit short, but definitely something Japan can use. It's a second corner guard. And we'll actually see teams do this on purpose when chasing in a game.
Yeah, and that first corner guard that went up by Team Japan was pretty high, not too far over the hog line. So this one's in a much more usable position and really no double peel available to Team Korea. So pretty good result for Team Japan.
The tough part, though, is pretty good setup by Kim Soo-jin. That rock top 4, tight center guard. They're going to throw one more. So, of course, throwing those double corner guards really means that Japan needs to be able to clear up the front. So important for Sai Yamamoto, second for Japan, to be able to make a double peel, at least rattle these yells around, create some scoring area for them to actually benefit from those corners. You can see the stopwatch in the left hand.
The iPad?
I guess it's an iPad. I was trying to find the generic.
The tablet.
Tablet, thank you.
Yep.
Tablet in the right. Just tracking every shot. Video camera up so they can analyze every shot, every game, and try and learn from it. They do get a couple of rocks moving here, but leaves a couple of center guards staggered.
That is the thing with this new 5-rock rule. Before, you would throw 2 corner guards knowing that the other team would step up and just start peeling at least one of them. But now when you throw the second corner guard, the other team really has no choice but to walk up and sometimes throw that second center line guard. And now all of a sudden, you're in big trouble in the middle. So you do have to have a weapon at second to be able to open that middle up. Korea sliding a little bit deep there and leaving a freeze for Team Japan.
Just a little bit heavy. You need to be more on that 15-second mark.
You do, and you need to bring your sweepers into the equation as well. When you throw weight that allows your sweepers to get it there for you, you let them do a little bit more as far as line goes. They can either keep it a bit straight for you or help it curl at the end, but when you're throwing that kind of weight, sweepers can't really do anything for you at all. Now you just leave a pocket for Team Korea. That early in the end, still important to play to your tolerance, which would be really anywhere in front of that yellow rock. And just like that, Korea puts one in the pocket, and really difficult stone for Japan to remove. Just have to play a setup shot for now and hope to have something on a later shot in this end.
하나 더 해도 되지 않나?
A셋.
어디래?
셋. 넷까지 괜찮아. 근데 셋이 더 좋아.
I think Team Korea, they're usually all better at trying to use their sweepers. And I feel like that's something you'll see the best teams do. Seems like the best teams in the world are the ones that are sweeping the most, like almost every shot, even if it's a takeout or a draw.
Yeah, what the best teams in the world will do is not just with the sweepers, but also, you know, the person putting down the broom and what weight they call. All of that brings everyone on the team into the equation and just gives the best chance of making the shot. If you have these sweepers there for you, there's no sense in making them watch and sliding a little bit deep. And generally, at least for the first part of the end, coming up short is usually a little bit more beneficial to you than coming deep. You can still use the rocks that are out front, but the ones that slide deep are pretty much just gifts to your opposition. And we've seen this week too, seems like every time we're covering a game, the team that has the lead, we look at their numbers and it's the team that's drawing really well, and there's usually a team struggling with their draws and that team falls behind. It's such a key part of the game. This young age, a lot of the times, younger players love to throw it hard. They love to practice those peels and those run backs, and it's the draws that are going to win you games and win you major championships like this. The quiet weight finesse shots, there's what should be spending a little bit more time on. Generally, the reason for even having to throwing big weight run backs or double peels is because a draw was missed somewhere along the way. So if you can be a little bit more precise with those draws, you put a lot of pressure on the other team.
쭉 기다려. 안으로 맞아야 돼. 수진아. 안으로 기다려야 돼. 떨어지지 마. 아니요, 더 떨어져야 돼. 빨리 될 거야? 아까 그거만 해.
うちょっと見えてるよ。あ、そこまで。
Just asking their front end how much they can see of this yellow rock. Get the feeling like the middle yellow is not really going anywhere.
No, the best they can do is kind of move it back into the other yellow and at least remove this rock that's in the top of the 4-foot. You're hoping, though, that Korea then misses a draw because you're still going to leave a pocket at the back of the 4-foot for Korea to draw down to. That's why those rocks in front of the tee line just become so important. Sure, Japan has a rock in the 4-foot right now, but it's actually causing them a lot more harm than it is good.
Could you get to the inside here and roll for shot?
I don't think so. I think the guard is too tight.
That makes a nose hit. Keeps a couple of reds in the house here.
Yeah, that's as good as she could do, I think.
It's a pretty good angle on the red as well. As it lies, they can definitely slash that in for 2, maybe even 3. All of a sudden, all pressure on Korea here. We're going to have a think.
그냥 이거 살짝 바깥쪽? 근데 얘 죽긴 했어. 요게. 걸릴 것 같아.
그냥 여기?
다 보이게.
라인 똑같이 잡아도 되겠지?
좀만 더 잘.
오케이. 아까 몇 나왔어? 3.
릴리즈가 많은 거, 릴리즈.
So Korea is looking to accomplish a couple of things with this draw that they're playing in here. They're trying to come in kind of in front of that red rock that's in the 4-foot. They hope to take away the angle slash that Japan has, but by at least bringing it into the full 12 or a piece of the 8-foot, if they do leave Japan some kind of slash, then it's only for 2 points and not for 3, as that rock at the back of the 12-foot won't score if Korea can keep this rock somewhere out counting it.
라인 넉넉해. 5, 6. 5, 6. 라인 좋아. 이제 라인 잡아, 라인. 라인 잡아. 계속 가. 옆에. 라인. 계속 가. 이제 라인 계속 와. 계속 와. 야. 와야 돼. 7. 이제 더 와. 타이트해. 최대한 좀만 더.
They do get it in to out-count that rock at the back 12, but leave that slash there for Team Japan. If they can stick their shooter, it will be for 2. Just getting it by this top one, enough to get in there for second shot. Third shot, excuse me.
하트 다이조브. 다이조브라네. 다이조브.
Still looking at the slash here. Any chance to keep the shooter in the 8-foot for 2?
Trouble is to play it quiet enough weight that you need to stick your shooter. It's tough to move the yellow rock that's biting the button all the way to the back of the ring as well. I think it is there. Just not easy. She has to play it quite quiet.
Just looking at the ice here. Seems like they might be throwing quite a bit of weight. Goal 1 here is to secure their point, and they do. Shooter rolls away. 1 red indeed. Japan gets their second point, but Korea will lead this game 4-2 after 5 ends of play. That marks halftime, so teams will have a short break and then be back onto the ice for the 6th end in the second half. We'll take a look at some highlights, some stats, and then some more curling. first end, lots of trouble for Japan. Skip of Japanese girls Anami makes a really nice little run to try and cut the losses. Korea steals the single point. Korea would steal again in the second to lead by 2. Again, Anami with last stone this time. A bit more of a simple task, an open hit makes it to score a single. In the fourth end, Kim Min-ji has an open draw to score her 2. Korea so far very much in control of the game.
And we do have some other games going on here this evening. Canada and China tied at 3 each, playing the 6th end. The United States leading Switzerland by a score of 4-3 and 6. Playing the 5th end, Scotland leads Sweden 3-2, and Russia up 3-2 on Norway, also in the 5th end.
It めっちゃトイレ大変だった。さっきさえちゃんにソーリーって言っちゃったんだけど。
さえちゃんにソーリー？
さえちゃんそこ通った時にさ、なんか言って、あーってなったからソーリーって言って。さえは日本人です。そうだったの？さっき日本語忘れたって言ったの。
편하게 치지. 멀리 치지. 그러면 네가 먼저 자리 잡고 있어. 앞쪽에.
네.
알았어?
네.
뒤로 가면 안 되니까. 자리 잡고 있는 상태에서 너무 또 열 생각하지 말고 열면 다 만나 파이브라고.
네.
알았어? 열린다는 건 뭐야? 그 샷을 망가뜨리는 거야. 네가 앞에다 갖다 붙여놔.
네.
물러서지 마. 지금 러시 할 때도 너희가 물러서서 그렇게 되는 거야.
The stats do tell the story here this evening. Korea really outplaying Japan. Korea is playing 86% as a team. Really a strong game from them so far. Japan just on the wrong side of the inch. Their skipper has kept them in it in the first end with that amazing shot to cut them down to a steal of 1. But Japan will need to start being a little bit more precise here in the second half if they'll want to reduce this deficit.
A short break for the teams after end 5. How can the teams use those 5 minutes before the 6th end?
They'll definitely get a little bit of sustenance in them. They'll want to have a little bit of a snack or some hydration just to keep them going through these 10 ends. These are really long games, but the key here is to just chat with your coach and your alternate and hear what they have to say. Sometimes they pick up on things that you just aren't seeing being in the moment. It can be pretty easy to get tunnel vision as an athlete out there on the ice sometimes, and the coach may be able to point out some things that might help you moving forward to the second half that you can use to your advantage, both about your team, the other team, the ice conditions, whatever they might be seeing. Just a little bit of a break and a reset.
One aerial cover. A little bit of a struggle with draw weight early on. Would help a lot to just keep things in front of that tee line and get our team off to a good start.
Her weight there was quite close, just not really getting the line. You wonder maybe if her rocks aren't quite matched up. Her second one might be a little bit straighter than her first one. We've seen her not quite get the line on her come arounds. Kim Soo-jin having a great start to this game. She's been right on with her draw weight for the most part. She did slip deep here in the sixth end. Has a chance to redeem herself with a good freeze here. Again, just heavy for Team Japan. It's been the story of their draws. They're just not quite getting the weight. Both teams here just not quite getting the line behind this center line guard. We've watched this sheet a few times, and the opposite side of the sheet to where Japan is throwing on right now has been quite a bit straighter. I'm not sure if these teams would have scouted this sheet or known that beforehand, but nice to see Japan finally switching sides and maybe trying something different. Maybe get a little bit more curl out of this side. Kind of been the story of Japan's day. Just rubbing off, just going deep. Again, just really not using their sweepers.
밀어내야 되지. 살짝 그냥 백포까지만 밀어내면 돼. 방금 베이스 괜찮아, 태희야. 이것보다 그냥 폴리스도 괜찮아. 똑같이 해줘. 난 뒤로 보고 웨이트 맞출게.
라인 진짜 가야 돼. 라인 웨이트만.
It's a really nice shot. Korea now sitting 3 all in the forefoot. Japan in trouble once again here in the 6th end.
オッケー、ここでもダブルできるわ。うん。9。あー、ごめん、10秒。
Well, it certainly moves a lot of yellows around here. Very good shot.
Yeah, very nice. She could never get rid of all 3 because of that pocket of back reds there, but does move everything behind the tee line and clears out the front of the forefoot. So really nice shot.
Korea comes a bit deep. Let's see Japan just follow. Yeah, that's the call.
Again, Korea had a pretty big margin for error in front of the tee line with that shot to put a lot of pressure on Japan. Where she ended up going there just behind the tee line is one of the only places that gives Japan an out here. I think we have another one that's a little bit heavy here. On these ice conditions here from John Wall in Liverpool, it's not so much about the weight. They know, you know, in that case, she could have come all the way to the face of that yellow one and tapped it, not been an issue. But when you throw that bigger weight and the weight that your sweepers, you know, don't have to do anything to, you're all there by yourself, it makes such a big difference to how it curls. It's going to run straighter. When the rock doesn't curl at the end, when you think of it curling, it's actually going a further distance. So the speed, you need a little bit more speed to get it there. When you're throwing it that hard, it doesn't curl, it has less distance to go. You don't get the line, and then everything just compounds. So when you have a shot like that where you know you can be there and you know you're not going to be light, you often want to just tighten up the broom that little bit to allow for that. Worst case scenario, you're just using your sweepers. Nice shot there from Korea. That one not quite getting second shot, but it's a whole lot of trouble for now for Team Japan. That's what staying in front of the tee line can do for you.
Well, with the way this is angled up, could they maybe get a lot of yellows going to make the slash here? Maybe half the calf, lots of weight.
Could definitely get rid of a few. You will roll your shooter away, so Korea will be able to just come in and play that same come around. But it would be big for Japan here without the hammer to start eliminating some yellow rocks.
Just catching it too thin. Sometimes you just want it a bit too much.
Yeah, she knew she had to throw that one pretty hard, and when you add that weight using your arm more so than your legs, you can tend to put it out a little bit And it doesn't take much on this ice to have a little bit of a positive release. You can see her here. The very end, add outwards with her release. Just probably kept it a little bit straight. They knew right out of her hand that that really needed to curl.
여기도 나쁘지 않아. 여기 바깥쪽 라인. 혜린이가 몇 나왔어? 4까지 괜찮아?
Great game so far from Kim Min-ji. Really hasn't given Japan a whole lot of opportunities. She's played really well.
Oh, pretty nice little touch shot there. Leaves that right in the pocket. That yellow and red combo back 4. Korea sitting 2. Really hard to get rid of either of those yellow rocks at the moment. With only one very long center guard to work with. Looks a bit tricky.
Looks like she's trying the out-turn freeze here to the rock that's at the back of the 4 and try to just sit right there on the button in front of everything. If she makes it, it's great, but this is a really precise shot here that she's attempting. That's what Korea's done this whole game, just put the pressure on and made Japan make some pretty difficult shots.
Enough weight here, seemingly. Sweeper's not really wanting to sweep it. Just going to rest to the second shot and actually sit for shot stone. Although accessible for Korea.
What Korea's looking at right now is to hit their yellow stone that's just on the tee line there on the right-hand side, pretty thin, and into the red stone that was just thrown on by Japan. And if you can do that, then you'll likely go into the side of the other red stone, and it could be a double for 3.
Could you ever hit the yellow second shot there? They're just almost on the nose via the red, yellow, spin back up and kick the red shot stone out left. Might need a lot of weight for it, but I know Kim Min-ji can throw some heat.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look here at trying to see where this red center line guard might be, if that's in the way of that shot at all, but I do think it's there.
Yeah, the guard might be just edge on edge. Wow, there should be enough room there.
There's a couple ways she could play this.
That, if she made that, it could be for quite a couple. See what the call here is. In the end, it looks like the in-off.
뺄게 있을진 모르겠지만 일단 빼봐. 얇게만 맞아서 하나만 따도 되니까.
No, I think they're going to play that nose hit.
The nose is the only way to play it for 4. If you play the in-off, it's definitely there too. That's just for 3 though, because you would lose your shooter.
So we're going to hit that yellow. It's almost going to come around the horn on the back 4. Try and kick that redstone just played by Japan out the side door. A bit wide though, actually slashing it in. I'm not sure what the thinking was for Korea, if they were looking to hit that on the nose. If so, that was well off. And Korea only scores the single. Opportunity lost. But they'll still have a 3-point lead on Japan now after 6 ends of play.
아, 저 10개 봐야 돼?
イエイ3点差とりあえずに取ってだね
여덟, 아홉. 아직 있어. 헤비야, 헤비. 열 갈 것 같아. 기다리자. 많이 세, 많이 세. 열하나. 더 죽어야 돼, 일단. 괜찮아. 더 죽어야 돼, 더 죽어야 돼.
아직 T야?
괜찮아. 열. 오케이, 굿샷. 너무 세게 찼다, 수진아. 너무 세게 차.
5-2 the score now in the 7th end. In this 10-end game between Japan and Korea, watching live coverage from the World Junior Curling Championship here in Liverpool, Nova Scotia. Japan trailing by 3. We'll put that corner guard up as they chase their first multiple end. Only scored a couple of singles. Korea looked like they had a chance to score big in that 6th end. Just last shot didn't come off for them. Still some work to do here. An important game for the Koreans if they want to make it to the playoffs.
Would have been smart for Japan there to call their sweepers off of it. Actually, it did look like it was probably going to be on that guard pretty early. If you call them off, you move that yellow rock more off of the center line and you can roll your shooter in behind the red corner guard and get a lot more out of what they just tried there. By keeping them on, you really got nothing out of that, unfortunately. Could have used a plan B.
웨이트 기다려. 네, 갈 수 있어. 들어갈 것 같아. 혜린이를. 여퍼. 혜린이만. 클린. 많이 돈다. 몇 나왔어? 3번. 4?
nice hit and roll there from Japan. Does probably leave that hit and roll into the inside for Team Korea, but really big to stick her shooter. Had she rolled out, you allow Korea to come around that middle situation again. So this keeps Korea away from the center. Might give you a chance to use your corner guard.
Clean ball.
Will roll out, so you might see Japan use their corner guard now, trying to make the hit and roll. And while they do that, we'll take a look at some of the other games here. China leading Canada by a score of 5-3, playing the 7th end. United States up 4-3 over Switzerland in 7. Also in 7, Sweden up 5-3 over Scotland. And Russia leading Norway 6-2 in the 7th end. That side of the sheet is just quite straight. Japan not able to remove the Korean stone and rolls their shooter out. Pretty much everything we've seen to that side of the sheet, whether it be going away like we are right now or coming towards the home end, has undercurled. This team's not sure if they're picking up on that pattern, but we'll want to just tighten up the ice a little bit. Sometimes it can be hard for the skip. They're just seeing, you know, maybe the player was a little bit wide or they set their release a little bit, but when you're seeing a pattern like that happen over and over again, you just want to have someone on the team who can step up and say, hey, we've missed this shot on the wide side 3 or 4 times. Let's take a little bit less ice here. Can be a huge asset to your team to have someone watching those patterns.
A good throw there by Minori Suzuki, just slightly overswept.
Yeah, that little rub off gives the opportunity for Korea to maybe even get a little bit of an inside roll. Does stick around for second shot, but Korea still lies shot rock behind the centerline guard. Didn't quite make the double, but didn't need to as it stuck around on the side.
제거하고 갈까?
한 30 보이는
룰. 2번이랑 괜찮을 것 같아. 잘 숨어 있어서. 잘 살짝 보이긴 해. 오케이. 이거 조심해. 괜찮아. 루말로 올게.
1, 2번이야?
아니.
Another great opportunity for Korea. We haven't really seen an end yet where Korea has been chasing Japan. It's been Korea all over Japan pretty much this whole game.
다운. 자, 계속 와. 오, 자, 좀만 더. 야, 오. 가야 돼. 좀만 더. 샷. 아니야, 됐어? こっちからかも。
じゃあワンならないよ。
あれ、6だよね。
何下がれたら？6だった
6だよね。
ここで。
6で6にフリーズ。6？
あれ。
最後までウェイトの確認ね。モネの課題。2の08だっけ07だろう。違うのか。6番でフリーズ。4後半でもいいよね。4秒だとちょっと早い。4秒でちょっと早いかも。4秒1は微妙なぐらい。でも1でもスイップしたら伸びるから。4秒1か後半。いいよ。ラッキー7。ちょっとあるよ。8。ウェイト待ちたい。8、9。ウェイトあるよ。後ろ。9。履かなくてもね、9ある。
Ami and Ami just trying to play a straight draw to the button here around this yellow centerline guard, but slides a little bit deep. I'm not sure if she stopped for second shot. I believe she did, but leaves Korea still sitting shot. She's had to try some very difficult shots in this game.
프리즈가 낫겠지?
몇 번이야? 2번이야?
2번. 프리즈가 나을 것 같아. 좀 밀어내도 돼? 밀고 일로 가도 돼. 프리즈는 열이니까. 3 괜찮나?
3? 앞에 안 걸리게?
Korea will just try to freeze down to this rock that's just almost in the back of the forefoot. They could maybe tap it a few inches. They should lie 3.
약간 뒤야. 라인 넉넉해. 기다려. 왼 좋아. 테이야. 라인 떨어져야 돼, 테이야. 테이야 좀만 더. 테이야. 테이야 좀만 더. 푸시하자, 푸시. 좀만 더. 비야. 계속 가. 테이야 좀만 더.
Does make the shot that they called. The other thing, though, that they could have done was either just straight pick that red rock or hit and roll away from the center line. By playing that freeze, you make this draw for Anami quite a bit easier than it would have been. Able to come down to the backing now.
いいよ。14。後ろ
in control here. You have the backing on the Yellowstone back four, and there you go. Another single for Japan. Well, we're going to have to start generating some deuces and maybe some threes. We want to turn this game around, but so far they're still in it. Korea up 5-3 after 7 ends of play.
이거 점점은 안 나오니까. 그렇지. 이건 1점 너무 쉽게 주는 것 같기도 하고. 저기 한 30. 맞아. 30이면 그 7, 8 해서. 내게 날 수가 없어.
Certainly seen Korea with an advantage on Japan pretty much the whole game, but just doesn't seem like they've been able to capitalize on their setup. I wonder if that's why they've dropped 3 games this week.
Yeah, I don't think it's actually been anything to do with shot making for Team Korea. There's been a couple of strategic decisions that may have been able to put either a little bit more pressure on Japan or just the way that they play certain shots, giving them a little bit more of a chance. As you can see here, Kim Soo-jin with quite a big lead at the lead position, outplaying her opposition by almost 30%. Obviously, Korea is getting quite a leg up early in this game, early in the ends. Just later on, not sure about some of the decisions and the way the shots have been called by Team Korea.
발차기 셌어?
아직 7이야. 뒤에 넣는다. 7. 그래도 기다려야지. 그래도 기다려야지. 7. 샷. 돌아왔다.
相手4ってことだよね。
Nice for Japan to keep one of those freezes in front of the Korean stones. They've had quite a few this game that have just bounced off or just gone a little bit too deep and aren't really usable by Japan at all. So to keep those 2 in front of the yellow rocks gives them an advantage now in this end that they haven't seen, I don't think, leading up to this point in this game. Korea, knowing that, just will peel the front, try to keep things nice and open.
Yeah, the angle's not quite in Japan's favor here.
No, but it's the first time they've had a couple rocks in front of the tee line, I think.
So I'm going to throw a guard for now. Now you might think Korea's sitting too. Why won't Japan try and take them out?
It's all about staging these ends. So first of all, Japan is down 2 without the hammer right now, so they know they need to start stealing and at the very least force Team Korea. So by throwing another guard, maybe for another rock or 2, it delays the play into the house. If they play in the house right now and try to start eliminating rocks, then Korea can easily also eliminate rocks, and it just opens everything up, and you might just see a blank end or an opportunity for Korea to spread things out and split the rings and get a better chance for 2. So Japan's just trying to delay playing into the rings.
핵도 괜찮을 것 같은데?
Japan would have loved to have had that guard curl just a little bit more and kind of sit in the middle of those 2 red rocks in the rings. Where it stopped now, Korea can play a little hit and flop underneath. Looks like they've switched gears though and decided to just straight peel. Certainly nothing wrong with that, being up 2 with the hammer. One more guard going up for Team Japan here. I think after this one you will see them start to move things around in the house. This is getting a little bit late in the end into third stones.
Good advantage for Kim Hye-rin here, playing a very solid game. Another peel. At some point, Japan's going to have to make a play here.
Yeah, Korea really has been all over Japan throughout the first 3 positions of this game. Either seeing a great shot from Ami and Ami from Japan at the end, or just not quite able to finish it off from Minji Kim with Korea has been why this game is as close as it is. With the way those rocks are staggered at the front of the house, they're talking about how to move these around. There's certainly a come around draw around everything into the forefoot here as well, and if you can get one in there, I'm not sure how Korea gets it out, at least not with only 1 stone. If they do play this, they'll probably want to make sure they get one of these yellow rocks out of the 8-foot, reduce its chance of scoring.
Timeout is called by Japan. Might want a second look from an experienced guy on the angles and maybe how to actually just play the next couple of shots here. Tsuyoshi Yamaguchi makes his way over.
ちょっとでもタイトはタイトだね。押すのはいいと思ったけど。今行かないと多分時間が足りないね。時間というか投数が。 あと残すなら赤のちょっと内側に当てるかだよね。
こっちの2番？
うん。そしたらまた半になるでしょ。ハの字になるでしょ。
ああ。これ押し込んでここやっちゃえばさ、これは出ない。
多分
でもこれはちゃんとティー奥に行った方がいい。
うん。そしたら次のチャンスが出てくるかもね。
こういうこと？
そんなに広がる。上とは？
こっちってことじゃないの？内側？
だってこっち2番のこっち側に当てるってこと。
うん。
あ、じゃあこっち。
でも外に当てたら自分も外に広がっていくでしょ。逆ハのになっちゃうね。
結構ウェイトがないとさ、これが奥までいかないと思う。バンパーぐらい。芯でもいい。ハックかバンパーか。
Seems to call us to
バンパー？
make a play on the red on the
バン
right.
パーでしっかりその1番は確実に下げたい。下げたいよね。あ、オッケー。
バンパー。
芯でいいんだよね。
芯か、芯よりちょっと
ちょいなかった芯だ。次使えるようにはしたい。
With that broom would indicate that they're playing this with takeout weight to at least make sure they get one of those yellow rocks out of the rings. It'll be key to see where this shooter rolls to, though. You'll want to make sure that you don't stagger your reds so that you can still use those if needed. It's that one on the wrong side. If she could keep it higher, she might at least kill one of those yellow. Also, not as much weight as I was expecting when you saw where the broom went down.
Let's line those reds up onto the shot stone.
기다려 라인 기다려 와우 기다려 라인 좋아 기다려 살짝 루미야
Makes the shot here. Kim head in. That's what they were looking to do.
Does still leave that lineup of red stones, though. That goes on to that yellow one that's in the forefoot. Without the hammer here, I think Japan's going to have to be a little bit careful about waiting too long to sit shot stone here. It looks like they're talking about just a little tap freeze. I think they want to try to sit shot here if they can.
Throwing a bit of weight here. We're looking to just tap the reds, but this will definitely move the yellow shot stone. Works out pretty well. Would have loved to maybe even kept the shooters staggered on the top red.
Yeah, now Korea can play this double.
일단은 어차피 안쪽 맞으면 이거 가니까. 노말? 오케이, 노말. 올라가니까. 인턴이 날 것 같지? 아웃턴?
Yeah, make the double. Maybe even kick that third red away from the center line.
Yeah, even if you don't kick it away, you can make the double and use that red one just as a bit of a catcher to hang your shooter around. You'll still sit 3 with the last rock, and Japan only has 1 rock left to deal with all of that.
맞는데 잡아줘, 혜린아.
Looking at the skips, Kim Min-ji still definitely with the edge over Ami and Ami, but Ami playing 75% here this evening, which is the biggest reason this game is still within reach for Japan. The rest of the team really getting outplayed. But some big shots from Anami to keep her team in this one.
A bit of a half shot again from Kim Min-ji. But of course they are sitting first, third and fourth shot here. Korea,
Yeah.
lots of pressure.
And does
on
open
Japan.
up that second shot as well. So very lonely red rock there for Japan. They'll have to be quite careful with the placement of this last stone.
그 원래 네 밀린다 있잖아 내가.
아, 왜 자꾸 올리지?
네가 꺾여. 그냥 앞으로만 넣으면 될 것 같은데.
こっちターンで行った方がいいかもね。
Might have left a triple for Japan here.
シューターこっち側飛ばない？
Yeah, I think so. If not to remove the yellow one that's on the side of the 12 all the way out of play, at least to kick it sideways.
右に飛んだら。8？
It's a big shot here.
こんな曲がる？こんなに曲がる？幅大丈夫？
Saying Hachi, which I believe is 8 seconds. Pretty firm weight.
So it looks like they are looking at that same triple that we're seeing.
ダブルはしないとダメだよ。
これ。
I can only get to 5 in Japan, and that's
つけ
where
ていいよ。
that's where I stop.
外当て。で、こっちのヒルに。
5 kind of sounds like rock.
何秒？8。
Ichni, Sanchi, go rock.
Oh, I thought it was Ichini Sanshi go. I just always said go. 1, 2, 3, 4, go, I guess is what I was thinking.
It's been a long time since I went to karate class. Hachi seems to be the weight. So we got that down, and it's all about the line for Japan here. Catch just a bit high. Run the double, maybe stay for second shot. There we go. Real nice play.
Good enough, I think, to force Team Korea here. Another great shot from the Japanese skip. Keeps her team in this game. She's been looking at some pretty dire situations.
왜 좋아? 클린 라인 기다려. 클린해. 라인 좋아. 클린. 라인 좋아.
Last rock on its way here. Sounds pretty good from Korea. There we go. Hit and stick. It is 1 for Korea. 6-3, they lead it. Not able to shake off Japan quite yet. 2 ends to go.
한 번 더 들어오 가. 아 잠깐만. 6대 3이지. 들어야 될 것 같은데. 이건 들어야 될 것 같아.
화이팅.
나 뒤로만 안 가게.
그래, 약하면 탭하든 다시 한번 하든. 아니라 굿샷.
Bit of a neighborly battle here this evening. Japan, Korea.
This game is really quite meaningful for Korea, especially sitting right now at 4-3. Would really like to win this game to help secure a spot in the playoffs, but also for Japan, trying to avoid relegation after this year. Even though they are out of playoff contention, still an important game for both teams.
You're never, even with 6 wins, you're not even sure if you're in the playoffs. Usually you are, but there has been years where we had 4 teams at 7-2 through the playoffs. Not sure if that's possible with the scenario this week. But, you know, even a 5-4 record can get you through.
Yeah, it really depends on what happens here. There are still 4 teams here at 2 losses or better. But a lot will be determined, I think, after this draw here tonight. Japan did make the shot that they had called fairly well, but by coming into the rings this early in the end, being down 3, you allow Korea the opportunity to do what they just did and come hit you and move out of the way. And a lot less in play now for Japan to use to generate their multiple score. We're all the way into the 9th end now. It's pretty imperative that Japan scores 2 or more here to keep themselves alive in this game. I think it may be a little bit early to have played a hit into the rings on your lead second stone there.
몇 나왔어?
5-3.
Korea can see a piece of this one, so they'll try to chase the one in the rings, but they'll want to be very careful that if anything, they miss this on the tight side and get rid of the guard. You'd hate to go by everything. That's where broom placement really comes into play. Skip Kim Min-ji. Looks like she's had no issues with that. This Korean team has just had the ice figured out a little bit better than Japan, and I think that's a big reason why they're up 3 points in this game. And in our other games, Canada and China tied at 6. Canada will have the hammer in the 9th end. Switzerland leading the United States 5-4 in the 9th end. Scotland trailing 2 points behind Sweden with the hammer in the 9th end. And Russia up 7-3 over Norway and does have the hammer playing 9. Does get it by the guard. Rolls into the other side of the rings and does take the shooter. So sticking around there was key to keep the force alive there for Team Japan. Japan, if anything, would probably rather blank than be forced, be down 3 with the hammer than down 2 without, but will do all they can here to try to generate 2 points still in this 9th end. Does stick around for a second shot, I believe. May have actually shown a piece on the other side, but this is the straight side that they'd be playing around. I don't know about coming around this corner guard in the 9th end with a 3-point lead. Just peel that guard, and I don't see how Japan ever scores more than 2. Now Korea will call their timeout and hear from their coach.
겁나 긴데? 진짜 긴데? 근데 또 돌 때리다가 그거 하는 것보단 그냥 저거가 더 나을 것 같아. 나란히. 나란히도 괜찮아.
열면 뭐 하려나?
스테이? 아니면 붙인
시간 좀 여유로운데 좀 더 생각하지. 5분 남았는데. 나와봐. 잠깐만.
길긴 한데 보이진 않아. 좀 더 이쪽으로 돌긴 했어.
열면 얘네 이거 스테이 시켜.
들어.
당연하지. 들어해야지.
7?
보여줘도 돼.
네.
뒤로만 안 가면 돼.
네.
그렇지. 세면은 갖다 붙이면 이돌이 죽잖아.
네.
맞지? 그러면 또 들어와, 또 커버한 다음에 또 갖다 붙이면 되는 거잖아. 그래. 뒤로 가면 안 돼.
네. 웨이트만?
나란히 서도 돼.
네. 얘한테 이 개만 들으면 될 것 같아.
그래. 민지가 침착하게 해야지. 이걸 부르냐.
와, 키가 많이 나오네.
타이트하게 잡지 마.
네.
Lee Soo-jun, coach of Korea, coming out. They seem to be sticking with the draw. You don't agree?
No, I don't. In the 9th end of a game where you're up by 3 points, leaving this guard in play is just the only chance Korea has, or Japan has, to generate anything. If you give up 2 here, you're up 1 with the hammer, and I don't see how you ever give up more than 2 by peeling this guard. I mean, I guess if you make this come around perfect into the top 8 fully buried, you take away use of that corner guard for Japan. So your strategy is as good as your execution. So if they can make this one good, it should work out okay. But this is really, I think, the only out Japan has. If I was Team Japan, I'd be really happy right now seeing Korea come around this guard.
야, 좀만 더. 야, 진짜 가야 돼. 조금만 더.
And will come up a little bit short here and really just leaves another corner guard now for Team Japan.
하지 마. 아, 키에났다.
Just had to make that so perfect to not leave Japan anything there. You come a foot or 2 deep and you leave them a freeze. You leave it high like you just did there. Doesn't get shot, but lies 2nd and 3rd, and the Korean shot stone is wide open right now for Japan to access, so pretty good result.
이게 이겼는데 이건 별로야?
Now Korea has to be really careful what they do here to not give up 3 points.
하고 해도 될 것 같은데 이거 지금 안 치게 너무 위험해. 3점 줄 수도 있을 것 같아.
그냥 스테이만. 돌 바꿔치기만 하자. 핵. 핵. 웨이트 핵. 좀만 더 줄여줘. 핵.
Looks like they're calling hack weight here. Is that just to try and stick it on the nose and sit 2?
Yeah, it must be. Be tough to ever remove this red one and stick your shooter even with hack weight.
클린 해. 얍. 수지야 라인 좋아. 계속 클린. 라인 좋아. 클린해. 기다려야 돼, 루비야.
Does make it pretty well. With the shot that they called and trying to stick their shooter in front of that back red one, that hack weight call was so important. You see a lot of teams play control or even normal when they're trying to hit in the rings, and just such a better chance of not letting your shooter roll too far when you play those quieter weight takeouts.
そうやってこうなってもいいよ。そうやってやっといてもいいんじゃない？こっちでいいよね。相手にさ、打たせたいよね。これやって。
そうね。この前かこっち。
こっちまでちゃんとやるからね。
A はこっち。パスタ10秒。
残した方がいいよね。
でも10でもいいと思う。すごい時間がかかる。
Deciding to hit and roll off of this side one somewhere into the middle, hoping that if Korea plays at it and maybe leaves their shooter somewhere in front of that back combination, they might leave a double for 3 points for Japan.
It's a pretty good roll. Not fully buried. Korean just thinking about freezing.
Even if Korea can see enough of this red one to chase it, the danger is that you ever over curl, take that top yellow one, or try hard not to take the top yellow one and go by everything. All of a sudden, Japan has a shot for 4. So by playing this breeze, putting it somewhere in front of it, you don't even really have to make it perfect. Get it somewhere in the 8 foot, and at worst, you're giving up 2, and you still have a 1-point lead with the hammer in the 10th end. I think this breeze call is really smart. Can be tempting to want to lie too, but just make sure you get it in there somewhere. But again, this rock that she's having to freeze to is buried behind the rock that they threw there, trying to come around that corner guard. Wouldn't even have this issue right now if that red rock that's out front was peeled away earlier on. Might be heavy.
And what does that leave Japan?
Oh, I don't know if Japan should have kept sweeping that.
No.
Definitely there for 3.
Yeah, make the double here. You probably rip your own back red on the right. Probably worth the risk here.
Definitely with the scoreboard. Just left Japan this opportunity really unnecessarily. Korea was sitting pretty good earlier in this end, and with a 3-point lead, could have kept it quite a bit more open.
Last stone, 9th end. Really needs a good one here. Trailing by 3, could score 3 right back. 1, 2, and look at that. Fantastic shot. by Ami Enami to score 3, tie this game. Wow, she's really on fire today. She's been left some tough ones. This is one of them. But it's made. And Japan with a fighting chance here. All tied before the 10th end.
안개 앞에 서서 넷 프리즈 뒤라도 붙었어야 되는데 너무 약하게 차서
약했어.
밀리질 않았어?
발차기에 비해 안 한 것 같아.
And look at that, 3 on the scoreboard for Japan. All of a sudden, just double the amount of points they've scored in the game with one terrific shot by Ami Enami. Of course, a miss by Kim Min-ji to leave her that shot. That's kind of been the story a little bit. Korea have been dominating Japan on most accounts, but that skip position, Ami Enami has really kept Japan in the game all throughout, and Kim Min-ji just hasn't quite been able to capitalize on the chances she's had. And in the 9th end, Ami Enami did, and that's where we're at, square.
Yeah, Korea's really been all over Japan at the front 3 positions, and Ami Enami making some key shots to keep her team in it. And Kim Min-ji just missing a couple of opportunities. She did have a double for 3 or 4 back in the 6th end and only got a single point. Just not able to capitalize. Missing the tick on the first one here. She threw a lot of weight for a tick shot, missed everything, and now is having to come around, would like to get in there first.
웨이트 괜찮아. 좀더 굵어야 돼. 웨이트 비슷해. 건들지 마. 안 돼. 좀 더 간다. 9, 8. 샷. 잘했어.
Does make a good come around. Japan choosing to come around and freeze here. There is a fairly easy double peel out front for Team Korea. The other option for Japan would be to put a guard just over the hog line and at least force Korea to make some single peels for a while before taking on that easy double peel. Did just rub the guard on the way by and leaves it out into the open.
Peeling game, definitely one of the Korean team's strong sides. Need to bring it out here. Just a tickle on that second red, still leaves it on the center line. Tough to throw these long guards when the ice is so quick.
Yeah, really hard. You're just trying to put it barely over the hog line, which is only a foot or 2 from not being in play. So in most places on the ice, you kind of have that foot or two margin to deal with, but trying to throw them just over like this, often you'll either see take too much off and maybe hog it, or something like this where you're trying to make sure you get it over and it comes a little bit too deep. When you think about it, often you're throwing either a tight guard or a draw in the rings. To throw it just over the hog line, you're taking off 15, sometimes 20 feet from what you're used to throwing. That's a pretty big adjustment and really difficult.
There we go. Much better effort from Young Tae.
Really nice. Does leave that red stone in the rings, but it's actually in a less dangerous spot now, getting it out from the front of the house. It's not what you want to hear out of your hand. Just needs a piece of this one.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Oh, lucky to not peel out their own yellow there. A rare mistake on a simple peel from Kim Hye-rin.
She's had a great game, too. You wonder if it's a little bit of nerves here coming out in the 10th end of a tied game, and really a must-win game here for Team Korea.
Really need this past the guard. They're not, but at least didn't split the guard open. Actually brings that into the house, so if they're not left a guard in the end, Japan, they might be able to hit that yellow and sit 3. And that's a scary situation for Kim Min-ji to look at.
Oh, boy.
Wow. And again, deja vu for Kim Hye-rin. Flashes the guard, again just nudging over the shot stone. Can't believe she's done that twice in a row. That's honestly hard to do if you ever tried.
Yeah, to hit it, your back yellow one that thin with that kind of weight and only just nudge it over and not remove it from play. This time, though, she does move it out into the open. Team Japan can play now a kind of tap and roll or a freeze and then get at it at Ami and Ami's last shot. Really big turn of events here. There's not much going for Japan.
Looking back, just in the previous end, it was a pretty big shot for Ami and Ami. Make the triple, essentially, and stick it for 3. Shot of the game to tie it up, and that's why we're here. All square. Just a couple of rocks to go here. Don't think we'll have a blank end on the cards. It's all gonna be determined in just a couple of minutes. Past the guard. Trying to get a little inside roll. Maybe just overthrew that one.
Yeah, that is the straighter side. So even though it's a higher guard, didn't really need to throw that much weight. There was no need to kill that yellow rock. Just move it back behind the tee line and keep your red in front of it. Probably don't even want to kill it. Leave it around as a catcher at the back. Maybe just a poor weight choice there. Leaves Korean out here.
계속 약하게 차고 있는 것 같고.
약하게 찼대. 기다려. 진짜 기다려. 클린. 백다. 기다려. 나와줘야 돼. 수진. 수진 계속 와.
He's going to sit right there.
A nose hit for Japan now will make it pretty difficult for Korea to score. Elsewhere, we have an extra end on sheet A between Canada and China. China will have the hammer. The United States trail Switzerland by 2 points with the hammer in the 10th end. Sweden with a 3-point lead, leading 7-4 over Scotland in 10. And we have a final on sheet E, Russia beating Norway 10-3.
Okay.
Yeah, I think nose hit here. If anything, maybe nudge lightly towards the center line, not
Yeah, and then
not roll wide and leave it a nose hit double.
Yeah, nose are a hair inside, and you make Kim Min-ji draw the forefoot through the other side.
It's going to catch the high side, and it will leave a nose hit double if Kim Min-ji wants to take it on. First call you can see there was the tapping the forefoot for the draw. Now looking at the double.
There's really not a wrong call here. It's whatever Kim Min-ji is feeling comfortable with.
Just a minute left on the clock here for Korea as well. They've used their timeout, so.
And yeah, no timeout left. She'll want to get going on this one to make sure she has enough time in the hack to go through her routine here. Deciding on the double.
More than enough time, really, but at the same time, you might feel just slightly rushed when you see that clock ticking away.
Yeah, it's hard not to. And for younger players, it's a good thing to actually go through your pre-shot routine, have someone time you and know how long it takes for you to feel comfortable. Then if you do get in a situation like this, you can have a teammate look at the clock and make sure they let you know you have lots of time. There you go. She has 20 seconds. Still lots of time. She'll want to take a deep breath here.
Well, tied game. Need the nose hit double to win and get them one step closer to the playoffs here. Or is it an upset? And a Japanese win? It is made. Double by Kim Min-ji is able to keep her cool and put another W up on the board for Korea. Well, that was a very well-fought game by Japan. They were definitely underdogs coming into this game. Hold their own. And very, very close to causing an upset and stealing a win on Korea here. But Kim Min-ji doing just enough this evening to win it. 7-6, the final score. Eighth end. Kim and Ji with an open hit to score the single, forced by Japan. Lead it 6-3 after 8. Bit of a half shot by Kim and Ji, leaves this shot for Japan. It's a fantastic little double to score 3, tie the game. And in the 10th end, Kim and Ji with a tight score, needing a nose hit double. That is made to win the game. 6-7 the final. Elsewhere, and the arena, you can see that Russia picked up a win on Norway 10-3. Switzerland beating USA 6-4. And there's still 2 games ongoing in the Queen's Place Emirates Centre this evening. It's a tied game, Canada-China. They're in the extra end, while Sweden is up 7-4 on Scotland as they play N10. So, taking a look at the standings and how the teams stack up. Before that Canada-China game comes to a conclusion, we see China at the tops with 6 wins, 1 loss. Russia and Switzerland, they follow at 6-2. It'd be a very good win for Canada to move to 6-2 as well, if they can win it here in the extra. Korea sits at 5-3 now with that win over Japan. Sweden at 4-3. Really shaping up. Only 4 spots in the playoffs and semi-finals. And of course, a bit of a dogfight at the bottom of the table. Teams fighting relegation as well. As we just look over onto sheet A. It's the Canada-China game. Team China calling a timeout in this extra end. Just giving you some bonus curling here on World Curling TV for all you Canadian fans sitting at home watching. We're down to 5 rocks left, so not really much in play, just a couple of wide corner guards. Center is very much open for China as they have hammer.
I think one of the keys for these coaches coming out in these timeouts, and what I'm sure Perry Marshall has done, is not just about letting them know what shot to play now, but you have that opportunity to spend a minute with your team that you don't get throughout the rest of the game. Don't just talk about the shot that you're going to throw now, but what are you going to do after that, and how are you going to set up for the end of this end? So obviously Perry's instructed them to get rid of this yellow rock. It's a little bit easier for Canada to bury behind this one versus the other red rock that's in play. So peel this one out, and if you can do that, make your peels. At worst, you're going to have a draw to the 8-foot here to win this game.
I'm just going to peel this corner guard. There's really nothing much for Canada to work with. This would be one of them. And that rock is peeled out, so just that one red rock you see there. And that's what Canada will try to come around with the first of skip rocks. So essentially what they're thinking here is come around. Maybe you'll see China peel the guard and just come in and sit 2.
Yeah, there's a couple things that China could do. If they don't peel the guard, they might try to freeze. They might be trying to think of getting their draw weight on their skip's first rock, knowing that they'll likely have to draw the 8-foot on her second one. So if she tries the freeze, maybe bounces off or comes short, it gives Canada an opportunity to sit another one in there. And if she does peel the guard, like you said, sit 2 and force her to think about whether she wants to play the hit or the draw if you're Team China.
Selena Sturmey with the draw here on the out turn. Big sweep to trying to hold the line here. Looking a bit shy for weight as well.
Yeah, I think that's why they lost the line there. Just not enough weight, and does for sure leave a double peel. Whether or not China will want to play it is another question.
Yeah, because if you make the double peel, there's a good chance you actually leave the shooter. As potentially even a better guard for Canada.
And if you don't leave the shooter, there's a chance that you could spill one of those red rocks into the middle and actually give Canada a chance. I don't know what I don't think they need to come around the corner guard here. If their first call to come over to the side, wide open in the 4-foot, you know, maybe back 4 on the tee line, you're making Selena either make a dead perfect freeze or a hit and roll. And if she makes the hit and roll, which is an extremely difficult shot to begin with, you have the 8-foot to draw to, and you've just thrown a draw to the tee line. Coming around here, now you're leaving Selena a freeze, but in the end, we'll likely still have the same draw to the 8-foot, but just making it a little bit easier on Team Canada, I think, here by playing it this way.
It might have a bit less room to work with. Say, you end up coming halfway on the guard here, just back of tee line. Canada comes on top. Now you only have the 4-foot and a few inches more for the win.
Yeah, if you could put it just wide open somewhere in the 4-foot, Canada's forced to try that hit and roll, and really tough to make that perfect. If they don't, you have a wide open nose hit.
This one also really curling on China. Actually coming up short. That's going to leave 3 corner guards, and Canada with a second chance here to bury around at least a set fully 8-foot and force to draw for China. But of course, both teams struggling on that line.
Yeah, for Team China as well, if you even just come in, you know, near the center line, you could play the out turn draw from the outside in, knowing that that's probably the draw you're going to have on your last rock, and then you've thrown it twice. Now China will be forced to go into a completely different path for her last draw.
Need to make this one count. Sitting at 5-2 Canada, just behind China, Russia and Switzerland. I'm going to try and...
We can hear just a little bit from the sweepers here. You heard them say that it needs to grind hard, that it's back 8 to back 12 right now.
Uh-oh, this one is actually all the way through the rings. Open house for China to put a 7th win on the board, and they'll be at the very top. 1 win ahead of everyone.
Yeah, that's too bad. Selena likely had to take a little bit more ice to get around that combination that's out front there, and might have just got into a bit of a quicker path. Maybe was starting to slow down with that big curl towards the wings. Added a little bit more, knowing she was light, combined with a better path, and just slid deep there, now leaving China just a draw to fight the rings anywhere for the win for this game.
Here we go, last stone, extra end, just hit the paint for Han Yu.
No issues here. Does get into the rings for the win.
And there you go, China. Well, top to standings. What a week they've had. 7 wins. Not a team known to everyone, but they're certainly known to everyone now. Big contender to maybe even capture the title here in Liverpool. they'll be the team to beat. China just, as the other teams in the competition, just one game left. They play Scotland tomorrow. Scotland just sitting at 1-7. You would think China will be favourites for that one tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 local time. For Canada, they play Russia. That's going to be a tough game. Russia sitting at 6-2. As Canada now move to a 5-3 record. Well, there's a chance they won't quite make it there. As you see now, that win for China. We saw Korea pick up a win on Japan. Switzerland beating USA 6-4. Sweden beating Scotland 7-4. And Russia with a very dominant game on Norway with a 10-3 win. All wrapping up here this evening. Just getting ready for evening practice. As we see the standings there, we see China now officially qualifying at 7-1. Russia and Switzerland at 6-2, looking real good. But Canada now dropping to 5-3. It's going to be a must-win for them tomorrow. They have Korea and Sweden on their tails, also sitting at 5-3, while Norway, USA, Japan, and Scotland they're going to struggle. We might see all those teams relegated depending on the host next year. Well, that's the curling action we had for you today. There'll be more tomorrow, the last games in the round robin, and of course the semi-finals in the evening. That's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks for watching World Curling TV. See you again next time.